Thank you.
Yes.
So it's really honor that I can make a presentation as a hosting institution from Tohoku University, and I realized that the Yoshida Sensei also make a presentation from Tohoku University. So my role is much more focusing on the national and institutional perspective. And then maybe the Yoshida Sensei will talk more about how we are trying to support the student. And about 2 days ago, we had another conference, which is I participated on the OECD, the group of the national expert of the higher education. That is kind of advisory board for the higher education policy team of the OECD. And there, I also made a presentation and shared some information with the colleagues of the North America and also the Europe. And so I can share these information as well. And here, basically, I will talk as the kind of individual researcher, not representing the view of the university. Okay. So anyway, this is the first slide. I took this slide from the top page of our Tohoku University website. And as you could see that the many universities are now trying to give the precise information to the stakeholders. The president are trying to give the clear message that what we are trying to do. And also we are also appealing that what kind of social contribution the university is doing, especially for utilizing our knowledge and our research. And finally, how we are trying to give the precise information and the support to the individual student. Most of them are facing difficulty. And then really just finally that we have many the online events, including this webinar. And yesterday we had a webinar of the alumni meeting online for the international group living in the Asia Pacific time zone. Okay, so it's unique about the Japanese case that we have some kind of an emergency before about 9 years ago. Just the other country as well. But we still have some very fresh memory that what has happened in the 9 years ago about the earthquake and tsunami, and how we managed to tackle with that. And so we have our research institute of the disaster sciences, and this is the very, very important facility that gives some the information and also the contribution directly to the this kind of emergency. And also we have our medical the faculty and also the university hospital, and it is. We happen to have the leading expert of this kind of infection of the pandemic, and the Professor Oshitani is now leading the national team of the expert group. So we have a very strong connection with the national government how to deal with this issue, and also these kind of informations are also utilized for how the universities are trying to tackle with this. And also the university hospital is also a very core facility that are serving for the local community. And this is the last place for the most difficult cases we can deal with. And as we already discussed, that the East Asia is relatively the area that had a modest impact on the first pandemic. First phase of one pandemic, and Japan is not the best one, but and the approach is so different among the different countries and the district. But having said so, we have a relatively modest, and we already almost finished the kind of first wave. And then yesterday, the Prime Minister Abe officially declared that we can move freely within the nation at least. And we are now planning to open up the boundary first from the Vietnam, Thailand, Australia, New Zealand, and also we are just like Korea and China. We are now starting to negotiate that whether it is possible to open up our national border one by one. And probably the researcher and the business people are the first track. And then the student, maybe still it will take a lot of time that many students are trying to move freely. And we had a state of emergency in the end of our academic year and the beginning of the academic year. It started from the April, and because of that we experienced almost all of the national and private universities. We have 800 universities anyway in Japan. Experienced the postpone of the starting of the new academic year. It is about 90%. And thanks to this slide is provided by the Ministry of Education and so the sources are from the Ministry of Education directly. And also the use of the distance class is also, as we also experienced the same thing, that the face-to-face instruction is becoming very difficult. But now we are now in the process of preparing to make a restricted utilize the face-to-face instruction from next month. But still, for example, in the case of the Tohoku University, about 40% of our students are not living alive in Sendai, but still in the home city like Tokyo or the Hokkaido, so that this will take a lot of time and of course the international students are still very face difficulty to enter the country as well. And what we are trying to do as a national level is to provide the supplementary budget for accelerating the digitalization of our education facilities, and also we try to make a kind of the flexible the pre-tertiary system that will fit to the emergent online teaching. And as Professor Longvin already mentioned, that the very big issue for us is how to assure the internationalization of higher education. And this is really the big factor. And the main drive of our internationalization of higher education is, as other East Asian countries and districts, that basically we are utilizing internationalization as a human resource development. This means that how to make a connection between the national, the economic and society with the global economy. So that is a very big issue. And for that purpose, about more than 10 years, we are trying to increase the number of the international students who can be a bridge between the Japanese community and the international community. And also that we are trying to send Japanese students to study abroad, the short term and also the long term. They are affiliating to the university in Japan, but we are trying to give the opportunity for them. But of course, it is very difficult to do that, and it is almost impossible to move across border. And I'm really pleased that some participants today is from the International Christian University, and this university and other international universities are really the first runner of how to tackle with this issue. And those universities had the information and exchange with the East Asian colleague and also the US. So it was relatively first possible to respond to the transformation to the online education, and then give the message to the inbound student that you cannot come to Japan, but we still try to reach to you online. And also we are at least we are trying to give some international experience to you, although you cannot go out of our country. And also for that purpose, that the national government is also trying to give the best the support for them by making the flexible arrangement for the payment, scholarship, and also the visa issues. But it is, of course, it is not that perfect, so they are still trying to do. And then the other interesting the trial is again the kind of the international collaboration like us. And this is the experience. This is the case of the university's collaboration between the U.S. American Council of Education and there's some group of the Japanese university maybe focusing on COIL network, which is the co-education through the online. And these kind of the collaboration is based on the existing collaboration between the US and Japan. And one more thing we are facing with since we have many, around 600 private university, and many students started some kind of campaign, relatively modest one, that they cannot pay the tuition fee, not only for the financial difficulty, but also for the value of the online-only education is not enough for considering the high tuition fee. So this is a case of the Waseda University, one of the leading university, that they still say that they cannot bargaining of the tuition fee, but that they will reach to the student who face the difficulty. And the government is also trying to support the international student in several ways. The first, we have a cash handout to all residents, including the international students who are living in Japan. And also we are trying to, the government is also trying to give the partially the international students and domestic students who face the difficulty of the financial condition, the additional cash handout, adding to the citizen in general. And then this is a summary of our challenge and the future perspective. As a national and local level, we need to support learners with difficulty and recover under the new normal with coronavirus. The recent the survey result of how many the rate of the immune in Japan is 0.1% in Tokyo and 0.03% in Sendai. So this means that more than 99.9% of the Japanese citizens are not immune. Means that we have to be very, very careful, and we still cannot go back to the previous situation. So the new normal is with coronavirus. And then we have to maintain and develop the knowledge economy, including private providers of higher education related industry. So the university is only a partial part of this kind of knowledge provision from now, higher learning provision. So much more the industrial sector is becoming a very big the policy target. And then we need to secure the job for the further opportunities for the higher education graduates. And this will become very, very serious from now. And then the co-work with the local community is also the very big challenge for us. And that's the global and regional level. We need to contribute to the recovery and innovation through the science and technology. And this is one of the very, very important role of especially the leading university. And the seeking new mode of the internationalization of higher education. And the Tohoku University case, we are trying to make a new slogan that we transfer from the Go Global to Be Global, means that the internationalization at home campus. So it's through the online and also through the intentional provision of the international experience student. And the regional collaboration and the mutual enhancing the support for the research and social contribution. And this is really becoming very, very important. And I think that the grassroots level, the East Asian universities and the academics are already starting to collaborate like this. So I think it is very, very important to encourage this kind of movement. And finally, setting up the unique scenario fit to our own context is very, very important. And especially what I found is that if we really focus on online education, and this means that also that we are trying to try to be internationally competitive in the provision of the education contents in English. This is really very difficult for us to compete with the already existing the MOOCs and the online-based the English, the very quality contents of the English-speaking countries and the region. And this is the very, very big dilemma for us. And also the one of the strengths of the Japanese university education is much more for the laboratory work or the face-to-face instruction rather than the kind of the beautiful the video type lecture. So again, this is a very, very big challenge for us. So that maybe we have to redesign everything. But at the same time, we need to seek some unique scenario that is not the same with the other country. Thank you so much.